Alright, I want to see if this works. Sorry if you can't hear me too well. I'm going to show you a little bit of my inking process. I've got a page going already. Don't want to lose my spot, but you can see I've already started to ink it. Got some good shots of '07 and Anna there. But what I want to show you is specifically me inking, because I guess some people might find that exciting. Let me try to fix this, I'm sorry. Barf. I'm using the highest tech equipment here. Come on. Give me a second. I had you. You were perfect. Now you're not. Alright. Good enough, huh? So what I'm going to be using, tend to use a mixture of materials. First we have a normal nib pen. I think this is a Speedball 107 tip. This is the type of ink I use. I believe it's India ink, I don't know. I can't read Japanese, but that's my material. And then for some details, I tend to use micron pens, such as this or that. Okay. So as you can see, I've laid down the pencils with a blue pencil. This seems to be sort of like I tend to, whenever I can find blue mechanical pencil lead in stock, I use it. But normally, I just use these sort of architecture pencils. They go dull really quickly, so I actually prefer to get the mechanical pencils. They tend to be pretty loose. You can see up in '07 here is really loose, but I've drawn him a lot, so I'm not too worried about it. We got Anna here, and I'm just going to go right into it. Now, Anna, it was a really big learning curve with her, especially with her hair. Not many characters in the comic have free-flowing hair like she does. So you can see with between issue 1 of Three Ring Bound and now issue 5 that her hair, more than anything else I would say, has gone through the most amount of changes. Originally I was trying to get every big strand and everything like that, but it was time consuming and didn't look very good, to be perfectly honest. So what I ended up doing is removing a lot of lines and giving her what I kind of call the it sounds insulting, but I don't mean it to be, the sort of Cocker Spaniel hairdo, where you really get a good sense of volume and flow. I try to move really quickly with the nib pen. Because that's how you get the best lines. At least that's how I get the best lines. There we go, and then we can see that silly face. Okay. So I'm just gonna hit up some other stuff here. Hands are really important to me. Now, I'm not saying I'm not the best drawer of hands in the world, but there are certain aspects to hands that really bug me when I see it done wrong in other artists. Not that I'm one to judge. I'm not a member of the hand police. But hands are three-dimensional objects in superhero comics, especially in the 90s when I was reading them. A lot of people were not drawing them as three-dimensional objects. They're just kind of drawing them as big bricks. Whereas the fingers splay in a three-dimensional arc. Because the hands are essentially round. So that's one thing I always keep in mind, and though I'm not the best hand artist, I do try to be correct. Because I think since these characters have, at least the main characters like Evan 07 have no normal eyes to speak of. Their hands have to do a lot of talking, and though I have exaggerated cartoony hands, I do try to have some consistency to them. And I do try to have them obey just the basic laws of hands. Faces are the one of the few things, apparently, that I really like to draw. And if there's anything that really brings me joy, not to sound despondent or anything, I love drawing the comic, but one of the things I always look forward to, because I'm not a big fan of backgrounds. Am I freaking the camera out? Not too bad. I'm not a big fan of drawing backgrounds, vehicles, guns, animals. What else do I not like to draw? Buildings. I like to draw clouds. So I guess that's the two things. I like to draw. It's easier to define it by what I like to draw. Woo. I like to draw clouds, and I like to draw faces. And especially Evan 07's face, since it's so expressive. Those familiar with the comic, I been trying to draw or post the favorite Evan 07 face of the week to Twitter and Facebook. Available at facebook.com/Evan07 and Twitter at Bethel. The Evan 07 Twitter account usually retweets it, so you can find it there too at Evan 07. But I would say that I don't know if this face is going to make it to the Twitter page. I think one that was up here that I showed up at the top that I showed earlier is actually funnier. Tell you what, let's add one of those. There we go. Alright, so Evan 07 basically done. Let me just, before I stop it here, I'm grabbing a size 3 micron pen. Usually I use a size 5, I think that's 0.45 millimeters or something like that, to ink his glasses, but I don't have one anymore. I think that did nothing. So since he's screaming his brains out, let's go ahead and have the cheek cover up the bottom part of the lens here. Ooh, that's a gross looking lens. Let's leave the other eye unencumbered. You see right there? Those wobbly circles of glasses that we see? What we call that is something to fix in Photoshop. So, you probably can't see it. I do have very light, even lighter than the normal pencils I do, backgrounds in there, but I ink those last. Actually, I don't even know if I'm gonna have them in this panel since there's gonna be dialogue getting in the way. Let's go ahead and ink this belt buckle. Just a assortment of shapes. Doesn't have to be too clean, as long as we know that it is a belt buckle. There we go. Let's add some spittle. Man, I really screwed up that lens. Anyway, so that's just a preview kind of my inking. This panel turned out okay. Anyway, I got her face. That's what matters. Alrighty. Until next time. I might do this again if this actually works. So, Evan07.com. Bethel out. Signing off. And whatever.